Hare Ram Krishna, Hare Ram Krishna, Hare Ram Krishna. Good morning, friends. Today we will be talking about the Scorpio Ascendant. Scorpio is the eighth Rashi of the Kalpurush Kundali, and we have been following all the ascendants. We are at the eighth sign right now. We have been following certain format in deciphering the results of various ascendants, which includes all the qualities of the Rashi, what symbol is associated with it, how is the Lagna Lord relationship with other planets, what are the enemies, who are the friends of this Lagna Lord, which planets are exalted in the Lagna, which planets are debilitated in the Lagna, and what happens when other house lords they are exalted and debilitated. Based on that, what we can conclude. So mind you, we are just looking at the ascendant, we are not even looking at other planets. Just based on the being born in a particular ascendants, one is inclined towards certain things and one has got certain qualities. So all those characteristics, all those environment that person is now situated into, we're going to discuss with this. So let's deep dive into it. So it is the eighth sign and it's a fixed water, so it's a watery sign. The element is water, and being it's a yugma rashi, a female sign, being even sign, so it's a fixed water. So what can you decipher from a fixed water? So fixed water is like a pond, or like a small place where the water has collected for a long time, and various kinds of insects and keet they have basically come up in that area. So all those keet, all those insects, they are denoted by scorpion is one of those insect that come in such closed areas, similar to a well. Okay. Even a gutter or a dirty place, a small dirty place which is closed, the water is not flowing. In Cancer, the water is flowing in the just like a river. It's a Cancer. Pisces, where water is ubhay, it is movable as well as fixed. So, like the oceanic water, it is fixed as well as movable. So, but here the water is fixed, like a well or like a dirty small place. So it's a fixed water, and based on this fixed water, what all qualities we can see in the body structure of the person, what kind of akriti it will provide, that we will decipher over here. So basically, this lagna gives a person a middle stature. Okay, the height will not be very much, and the person will have a peculiar gait, and that peculiar gait or stance of standing, stance of looking, that will basically come from Mars and Ketu, because they are the Lagna lords. And being Ketu involved over here, there is a peculiarity. The peculiar aspect of that comes from there. They will be very commanding. Okay, so Mars itself is the commander in chief. So the person will be very commanding. Whatever his stature or whatever his gait, that gait itself will be very commanding. The person will become subservient. That's because of the Mars being like the Lord. He'll have a cunning look. So they will be more of a scorpion quality. They'll be having a cunning look on the other person. Like from their stance itself, you'll be able to understand that they are not like difficult to deal with. They will have a small dark eyes, just like you see in the insects. The eyes are not very prominent. Like in Vrishabha Rashi, you see the cow and the bull, they have a prominent eyes. They are beautiful eyes. But for Scorpio people, the eyes are small and they are not very prominent. They'll have a broad face. So if you, this is something that comes from the Scorpio itself. The scorpion, just like it has a broad face, and even the chest is also very broad. So these people will also have a prominent chest area. They will have a fleshy limbs. So if you see in the scorpion, the limb or that organ which is used to bite, that bite is actually very fleshy. Okay, that sting is very fleshy. So that gives these people very fleshy limbs. And that shape of the Scorpio will be prominent in these people, like a broad face, a broad chest area, and the flashy limbs, and the height is middle stature, like they are not very tall, and they'll be very firm because of being a fixed Rashi. So they'll be firm in their disposition. Now, Scorpio being an even sign, and Mars and Ketu being the Lord of Scorpio, what all qualities we can expect from here? So you see, Mars is the fire. Okay, so fire element is ruled by Mars and Sun. So Mars is the fire. Basically, the earthy fire comes from Mars. Sun's fire is heavenly fire. Okay, it comes from the heaven, and it rejuvenates the entire world. It basically it's also a spiritual kind of fire. It gives you intelligence, but the fire that Mars represents, it is more of a earthy fire, which is used to cook food. Okay, which is used to burn the jungles or burn somebody's house. So that earthy fire is represented by Mars. And eighth house is basically a deep dark pit. Okay, now in that deep dark pit of Scorpio, since Mars is ruling the Agni, so in that dark pit there is Agni. So that Agni is represented like a volcano, or like a under the surface. You must have seen if there is a supply of natural gas or something. Um, that natural gas, if it is burning, so that area is denoted by Scorpio. So just like that, these people will also be simmering inside. Okay, so outside it's a firm earth, but inside the people will be simmering, and suddenly there will be an outburst. That suddenness comes from Ketu. Ketu represents suddenly doing something, suddenly happening something, um, before any prior knowledge. So something of the outburst, sudden outbursts, because of that simmering fire inside will come from these people. They'll be simmering inside because that Agni is there inside that pit. They'll be very secretive also. So you see here, um, in these areas, like consider a well. Okay, inside that well, it's a deep well where a lot of insects they have spawned, and scorpions and such insects which is ruled by Scorpio. So it's a secretive place actually, like nobody goes there. In the same way, the heart of these people is very secretive. They'll keep a lot of secrets inside, and nobody will even ever come to know. They like solitude, which is unlike Aries. So Mars rules over Aries and Scorpio. Aries is masculine, and this sign is feminine. So being a masculine sign, the person will go out, meet people, or even fight with people. But what these people will do, they will sit there inside in solitude. They'll keep simmering inside. They will not go out there to fight other people. They'll be vengeful when they are attacked. So like Scorpion, you won't they won't go there and bite somebody for no reason. So if somebody hits them, they will hit them back. So they are vengeful people. So they'll be simmering inside, they'll be secretive, they'll keep things inside them, but when somebody attacks them, they will go and they'll become vengeful in that scenario. They do not like to go to war. Okay, they'll be keeping it to themselves because basically it's a feminine sign, so they will not go out there. But since Mars is the lord of it, if you go and hit them, then they'll fight back. They're not accessible. So these are the areas which are not accessible, because eighth house is the hidden house. What is there, even nobody knows what is there. There are a lot of unknown unknowns. You don't know what you do not know related to Scorpio people. And they are secretive and they are not accessible. Something like deep pit inside, where you can be outside and keep on guessing what could be the reason, but you never come to know. That's a Scorpio. Now, what age group? So we have given certain age groups to all the ascendants with that interval of 5 5. When we come to Scorpio, the age group that falls for them is 35 to 40. This is the age group where the person has settled, he has got married, and probably he has got kids also. Now he's looking for some kind of achievement in the society, doing something in the society so that his life after that is very, like his family life is very good after that. So here the achievement is basically to get give stability to the family. They'll be focused on on the achievements, and they'll be highly determined during this time only to fend for their family. Next, we'll look at the characteristic which is denoted by the symbol of this sign, which is Scorpio. A scorpion, a scorpion basically is that a small insect which is very vengeful. It's nocturnal. So this nocturnal characteristic you'll see in these people, like it will be very easy for them to stay awake at night and do more things more efficiently during the night. Then it's a low metabolic rate. So you see these insects, they can basically go into kind of hibernation for a long time. They can keep their metabolic rate very low. So that basically causes them to gain weight. And later on, they can do fasting, prolonged fasting, and burn whatever stored fat they have. The same characteristic you'll find in people with Scorpio Ascendant, that they will have a low metabolic rate. They'll be able to, they'll have an inactive lifestyle, um, just like the Scorpion. So, like in the hibernation mode, they will have pretty inactive lifestyle and low metabolic rate, so they can sustain for a long time. Even without the food also they can sustain. They'll be photophobic. So you see, whenever there is, if you throw some light from the torch or something, they will run away. They'll run away to the place where which is dark, because they love to be there in the dark. So they'll be photophobic. They'll have fear of the light. So same with these people also, like they will not be out there shining. They'll be kind of shy people. Opportunistic predator. So they will basically go and they will be very opportunistic in that aspect when it comes to predating on the other insects or the animals for their food. They'll consume a lot in one go. So as I said, like they will have a low metabolic rate, so they can go into hibernation. So before going to hibernation, they should have sufficient amount of food. So basically, they can become fat by taking a lot of food in one go and then going into a fasting mode. They'll be able to survive long fast. Again, this is related to the scorpion. So if you say like doing a long fast, it will be easy for these people because of their low metabolic rate, as well as the stored fat, stored source of energy, and they'll be very efficient in the storage. So again, that's also related to it. So they'll efficiently store the carbohydrate as a fat inside the body and use it later on. They'll attack when provoked. So like all of a sudden they will not come and attack you. Scorpion will attack only when you go and poke it. They'll be peace loving with quotes that if you don't provoke them, they will be happy inside their small well. They'll have fleshy and broad limbs. So you see, as you see in the pictures, the prominent limbs, they are very fleshy, and that fleshy limbs you will see in these people also. It's like a, now since they live inside that well, a small area where water is there, a closed area which is dirty also. So if you map it to the human being with the Scorpio Lagna, the person is very narrow minded. He is not very open to the new ideas. It makes the person very narrow minded. Scorpio. Now let's look at the exaltation sign. So Mars is exalted in Capricorn. Okay, and it is a third sign from this third house from Scorpio, and third house is the Sahaj Bhav. Sahaj Bhav means things that you are naturally talented for, things that you can naturally do. Third house is also the house of initiatives. So these people, they will be full of initiatives. They will be full of new ideas. They'll get help from siblings. They'll be very helpful towards siblings because third house also belongs to siblings. And Lagna Lord itself going over there, that means they are involved in the activities related to siblings. They will overcome obstacles. Third house is also for overcoming obstacles. Moreover, it is also the sixth lord, exalted in the third house. So, whatever obstacles they will have, they will themselves go and overcome it. Sixth house is for obstacles, Lagna lord is for the self, and third house is for overcoming it. Showing talent and dexterity. The third house is for the natural talents that the person has, and those talents will be easily visible to the entire world, and they will like to show it. Establish new ideas. So again, third house thing, they'll have a sharp intellect because the sixth house of dealing with the enemies, doing hard work, it is exalted in the third house. So their intelligence is very high. Lagna lord is for the intelligence. So being exalted in the third house, that means their intelligence will be at the full-fledged thing. Okay, Lagna lord is that intelligence, and exalted in the third house, which is sahaj. So it is very natural for them to be intelligent. That's how we interpret it. Brave and courageous. Again, third house, if it has the association of Krur Grahas, that means the person is very courageous, very brave. He is very like hard tasks he can do. Like other other people who have Soumya planet in the third house or association third house, then they will basically be shying away from this kind of hard work. But these people, they will go deep and do the hard work. Now it is debilitation. So where does the Mars get debilitated? So Mars is debilitated in the ninth house, in the Cancer sign. So basically, if moon is also bad, like if the, because ninth lord is moon, if moon is also bad in the chart, then the person could develop paranoia towards his own religion. So he'll be, so basically when debilitation comes into picture, it means the person will be less comfortable in doing it. So he'll be less comfortable in following the religion. But this result only you can pronounce when Mars, when moon is also in the bad place, or moon's state is also bad, then only we can pronounce. Otherwise it will be governed by moon. They'll find it difficult being righteous. They'll be uncomfortable with charity as in when charity relates to righteousness and religiousness, that kind of charity they'll be very uncomfortable in doing. Uncomfortable going to temples. So again, the ninth house thing. So honoring the guests and brahmanas. So all those things which are related to ninth house, they'll feel very uncomfortable doing it. Now let's look at this, the qualities of Scorpio. So quality, Scorpio is a fixed and it's an even sign. So that basically, when it is odd, the person goes out and performs the task in the world. He's very outgoing kind of person, like Aries. But here it's the Martian quality, but it's a feminine sign, a female sign, Yugma Rashi. So the person becomes very passive. Okay, passive as well as narrow-minded. But being Mars, they are simmering inside. So don't expect them to be passive and peaceful. They will be simmering inside. Now, what dosha? As per the Ayurveda, Ayurvedic dosha like Kapha, Pitta, and Vata. Which kind of dosha is prominent in these people? So you see, Mars is over there. So Mars will obviously give Agni. Agni is Pitta. Okay, lot of acidity kind of thing. And the Rashi itself is watery. The water element gives Kapha. So Kapha and Pitta, these two are the things which will be disturbed in these people. In the Nasargic Kundali, it's the eighth house, and eighth house stands for the secrets. Eighth house stands for the crisis. Eighth house stands for the sudden things. Okay, so you'll see all these themes will play out in the life of such people. There will be suddenness in the things that these people experience. There could be connection with the occult thing also. There will be lot of secrets inside the person that nobody will ever come to know. All the unknown things, all the hidden things, uncertain things. And it's also darkness, okay, some place where light doesn't go, okay, that place, that dark place inside, that is the eighth house. Then the Lord Mars gives them very commanding nature, okay, but they here he doesn't go to war, he just keeps the war inside him, okay. So inside he'll keep that fight going on, but he doesn't go outside and do the fighting unless provoked. And they are very irritable also, because Mars in general is the Agni and makes the person very irritable or short tempered. Who are the friends of Lagnesh? Okay, so the friends of Lagnesh is Mars. So Mars is mutually friendship with Jupiter, Moon, and Sun. Okay, mutually friends with these guys are also friendship with Mars. Ketu, he considers Ketu as a friend, but Ketu considers him as enemy. Okay, how we can understand this is like, see, Mars, Scorpio is the Mount Kailash. Why Mount Kailash? Because Mars is Kartikeya and Ketu is Ganesh, and Mars and Ketu, their home is Scorpio. So Scorpio is also Mount Kailash, where Lord Shiva is. So Mars is Kartikeya and Ketu is Ganesh. So you must have heard of this story from Shiva Mahapuran, that there was a competition in Kartikeya and Ganesh. So at that point of time, you will see that Kartikeya has flown away in the on the peacock, but Ganesha is thinking of how to outwit him. Okay, so you see, from the Mars side, Ketu is a friend. Okay, Mars considered Ketu as a friend. Ketu, Ganesha is considering him as an enemy. He's trying to outsmart him. He's trying to win over him. So that kind of relation is there in the Mars and Ketu. And Mars is like Hanuman. Okay, if you see the story of Ramayana, so Mars is the Hanuman, because Hanuman represents the immense amount of energy that Mars has. And Bhagwan Ram is like Surya. Okay, he has the energy of Surya. And Mata Sita is like Moon. Okay, they all are in friendship with each other. And Mars is the commander in chief, and Jupiter is the minister. So commander in chief and the minister. So minister will advise, commander in chief will act according to that. So they have a mutual friendship and mutual respect for each other, because they both belong govern different areas. Now Lagnesh is neutral to Venus. Venus is mutually neutral. Okay, but Mars is neutral to Saturn. Mars considers Saturn as a neutral, but Saturn considers him as enemy. So how do we reconcile these two things? So Mars is like Agni, and Venus is like Ghee. They both are neutral to each other. They just they just enhance each other. Okay, like if Agni is there, it will consume Ghee, and if Ghee is there, Agni will be more. Okay, it's like if you see in the real world, Mars is like a person who is very lustful, and Venus is like a prostitute who is selling her body to those people who are very lustful. Okay, so they have a economic kind of relationship. Mars will give the money and get its sexual desire fulfilled, and Venus will get the money and give the pleasure that she wants. So there is a neutral relationship between them. Like there is no inner connection between these two people. Okay, they are just using each other. They are neutral. They are not inimical, but they are not friendly also. That makes them neutral. And Mars and Saturn. So Mars is like Hanumanji, and Saturn is like Ravana. Okay, so Mars, from perspective of Mars, he is not enemy to Ravana. Ravana is considering him as the enemy. Mars is telling him simply to return back Sita. Okay, he is not inimical towards him. So that kind of relation is Mars and Saturn. And also Saturn is like the common people. Mars is like a policeman. Okay, So the policeman will, they are neutral to the common people, but common people, they think like, if you go to policeman, they will have to pay something, they'll be harassed for one or the other thing. So all those things come in the mind of common people when they see policemen. So that way also we can understand why Mars and Saturn, they are this unusual kind of relation. So Mars considers common public as neutral, but common public consider them as their enemy. And finally, the the enemies, so Mercury and Rahu. Okay, so Rahu is mutually inimical, so Mars considers Rahu as enemy and Rahu considers Mars as enemy. Okay, so what is Mars and what is Rahu? Mars is police and Rahu is thief. So they are mutually inimical to each other. Okay, Mars is like soldier and Mercury is like diplomat. Okay, so Mercury considers him neutral. Mercury doesn't shy away from. Mercury considers him neutral, but Mars considers him as enemy. Okay, because Mars' idea is that you should not talk. Like talking will not solve anything. You should go and fight and get the shit out of it. But Mercury considers, no, no, this, you should not be like this. Um, you should go and talk to them. Okay, so that kind of relation is there between them. Okay, so Mars considers Mercury as enemy, but Mercury is neutral towards him. Okay, Mars is also like a bodybuilder who is too much into gaining more strength so that he can defeat the enemy, and Mercury is like the poet or a writer who is not into bodybuilding but who is into uh, talking very softly and kindly to other people. Mars is like a blunt person. Okay. So they don't go hand in hand. Now, what planets are exalted in the Lagna? First of all, Ketu has two exaltation signs. One is the Scorpio and other is the Sagittarius. Okay, so in the Scorpio, it is like Ganesha on the Kailash. Okay, that is Ketu exaltation. And also there is uncertainty, suddenness, uncertainty, and prone to falling and prone to mistakes. All these characteristics come from Ketu because Ketu is falling from height. Ketu is making mistakes. Ketu is doing something suddenly or experiencing something suddenly. All these things you will see in the life of people who have Scorpio Lagna. Then, who is debilitated? Oh, yeah. So, moon is debilitated. Moon is the ninth lord, and its debilitation sign is Scorpio. Okay. So, what does the debilitation of moon mean? Moon is the emotions. So, its debilitation means the person will be emotionless. He'll be he'll not be easy to empathize with other people. He will also lack the motherly love because of moon debilitation. Moon also represents the early life, like from the birth to the early childhood, that time span in the person's life. So there could be some trouble during that time, like he may not get proper nourishment or doesn't get proper care from the mother. All those possibilities are there. The person is naturally detached. Detachment. See, moon exalted means the person is attached to the world, okay, to the society, to the people around. But moon is debilitated, that means the person is not attached to anything, especially like he will lack the emotions. Moon is also giver of comfort. So if moon is debilitated, that means person will not be comfortable in whatever situation he is. Lack of enthusiasm. So enthusiasm comes from these luminaries, sun and moon. So if moon is there being the lagna debilitated, so it will give the person lack of enthusiasm. He'll be very sad kind of person. He will have the depressed nose because of the water element debilitation, and he'll not be swayed by emotions. So he'll be very steadfast on whatever he says. He'll not be swayed by the emotions because obviously moon represents emotion, the water element, and lack of it basically naturally makes him emotionless. And also the second sign is Jupiter, which is a sattvic sign of a person being steadfast fast on his words, on whatever he says he does. So to achieve that, he has to be emotionless. So these people will be emotionless. It is also the debilitation sign of Rahu. Rahu represents going out of the way. Okay, whatever is being done in your family, in your culture for 1,000 years, you will follow the same thing. You will not go out to basically um, try out new things. Your likes, dislikes, everything is constrained. Also here the uh, that symbol of well comes into picture. So the person who is living in the well, very narrow-minded approach is there, and Rahu also debilitation. So he will not like to, if you go tell them go try something like a chocolate pasta or something like that, they will not even try. Okay, they have very strong likes and dislikes. They'll be detached from worldly affairs. So Rahu makes the person very materialistic. So if Rahu is debilitated, that means they will not be into lot of, they will not be worldly. Okay, they'll be easily, it is very easy for them to get detached from the world. Okay, they do not like the the they do not like dishonesty, because Rahu stands for dishonesty. If he is debilitated, that means the person speaking a lie, they will, like, they'll be furious at people who tell lie. Okay, Rahu also stands for foreign things, so they will not like foreign stuffs or foreign ways of life or foreign things, uh, because of the anything which is alien to their area, so they'll not like it. Now let's look at all other planets, all other house lords. Since they are debilitated or exalted in some houses, what does it mean? Let's begin with Saturn. So Saturn is the lord of third house and fourth house, exalted in 12th house, and debilitated in the sixth house. So what does it mean? Okay, so it means that they will not like to go and fight, because fourth lord in the sixth house and debilitated, so they will feel very uncomfortable going and fighting. That's why they are naturally peaceful people unless provoked, and if you provoke them, then they will fight. With Saturn debilitated, that means they will not follow any decency or something. They will do any kind of attack, like below the belt attack. Like there will not be any standard to what level they can go and fight. Okay, because Saturn is debilitated over there. They may lose property in the fight, because the struggle could be because of the property. Fourth lord involved, house, vehicle, mother. Mother could be the cause of fight. Fourth lord in the sixth house. They could also lose brother in the fight, like fighting with the enemy and then losing your brother, or they could be fighting with their own siblings also. Okay, they may lose their weapons also, because again third lord being debilitated in the sixth house, third house for the weapons. They like to leave homeland and settle outside. Okay, now this is especially true if Saturn is there exalted in the 12th house, because Saturn is exalted in the Libra, which is the 12th house. 12th house of foreign countries, going to foreign places. So if Saturn is really good in the chart, then the person will go outside and he will live in the foreign country. Now Sun is exalted in the sixth house, and he is debilitated in the 12th house. So exaltation in the sixth house means Sun is first of all 10th lord of one's work, one's job, and sixth house is for slugging, working hard. So basically, since Sun is involved, so they could be like serving the government. They could be in the government job. Okay, they will be honored for their fighting skills, because sixth, the Aries is for fighting, Mars is the fighter, and Sun is also over there exalted. So they are fighters. Okay, and that fighting is giving them what? Honor, because 10th lord Sun is exalted over there. So the honor is coming from their fighting. Sixth house, they'll be humiliated in the foreign land, they'll be into distress in the foreign land. Why does it so? Because you see 12th lord, who is debilitated in the 12th lord? Sun. Okay, so Sun is basically giving them distress when they go to foreign country. Saturn is exalted, but sun is debilitated. Okay, so that basically gives them a lot of distress in the foreign land. uh, Powerful enemies. So sixth house, now you see sixth house being fortified by sun. So who is the enemy? Sun is the enemy. Sun exalted is the enemy. So the enemy is more powerful than you. That is for sure. Okay. Jupiter exalted in the ninth house. So Jupiter is the lord of second house of wealth and family, speech. It is exalted in the ninth house of dharma, righteousness, of what you consider to be right. Okay, what you consider to be your duty. Second house of speech. So that means you will be very steadfast in your speech. Whatever you say, you will do, and you will keep it upright no matter what happens. You'll be very truthful in that regard. You'll have a big family because ninth house is for the bhagya, the fortune, and second house for family. So you'll be fortunate enough to have a big family. uh, there will be wealth available from righteous things. So if you do righteous things, you activate your ninth house. It is as good as exalting your Jupiter. So with that, if you do righteous things, religious things, go to temples, respect elders, respect brahmanas, respect devatas, that will basically bring a lot of wealth to you. Second house, that will bring, that will be good for your children also, because Jupiter is the lord of fifth house. So second and fifth, they both will be activated if somebody does uh, uh, live in this world with righteousness. Mind. Okay, fifth house is also for mind. Fifth house is also for your likings and dislikings. This being exalted in the ninth house makes the person all the righteous things, religious things always on the mind of the person. Now, moon. Okay, moon is exalted in the seventh house in Taurus, and moon is debilitated in the first house. So, for debilitation, we have already seen. Now, let's look at the seventh house. So, moon is the ninth lord, and he's exalted in the seventh house. He's debilitated in the lagna. That means Guru, Guru is debilitated in the lagna. So, the person will be rebellious towards the Guru, because Mars is debilitated in the ninth house, and Mars is the one who is debilitating the Guru. Mars is the self. So the person will go out of way from the Guru's way. He'll be rebellious towards the Guru. He'll get, so basically, since the seventh house is where the moon is exalted, and moon is the lord of bhagya. So if the person gets married, his fortune will be unlocked. His fortune will be unlocked from the marriage, because then seventh house is activated, which is where the moon is exalted. So the person becomes fortunate after the marriage. Also, not only marriage, his, if he does some kind of business, trading, or involves in the seventh house activity like business, trading, commerce, then also his bhagya is unlocked. Now, let's look at Venus. Venus is the lord of seventh house and 12th house, and exalted in the fifth house and debilitated in the 11th house. So, what does it mean? So, fifth house is what is on your mind. Venus is exalted over there. That means the women, perfumes, all the womanly things, sexual acts, these things are always on your mind. Okay. Also, Venus is the lord of seventh house. So, trading, business, commerce, do this, do that, that's also on your mind. Okay. Venus is also 12th lord. So, 12th lord stands for bed pleasure, it stands for charity, it stands for investment, it stands for spending and expenses. That's also always on your mind. So what goes on your mind. Okay. It is debilitated in the 11th house. That means it will destroy 11th house, it will bring down the activities of 11th house if activated. So if you do business related to women, like perfumes, garments, flowers, then basically you will see loss of income. Any business you do related to women, Venus, you will see loss. Okay. Loss in the international trade due to women. So again, the 12th lord, Uh, Venus is also 12th lord, and it is debilitated in the 11th house. So international business, any business that you do with the foreign country, uh, since it is debilitated in the income house, so basically it will result in loss of income. They'll be blessed with a good natured wife. So see here, 7th house has all the benefic association. It is the house of Venus. It is the exaltation sign of Moon. Moon is the ninth lord. Venus is the seventh lord, which is exalted in the fifth house. So basically, all the good things are associated with seventh house. These people will have very good wife. Okay, the wife will be good natured, spiritual. She'll be respecting elders and Atithi and Devata and Brahmins. Mercury is exalted in the 11th house and debilitated in the 5th house. Now, what does it mean? First of all, Mercury is also the lord of 8th house. 8th house debilitated in the 5th house is not good for the brain, not good for the mind, because 8th house stands for all the bad things that we have got from the past life. Okay, and now it being associated with the fifth house means the person is highly stressed. He will have some kind of mental issues because of connection of fifth and eighth house. He's exalted in the 11th house. That means he'll be very humorous when it comes to when he deals with his friends, because 11th house is for friends. Also, he'll be very friendly when he deals with his maternal uncles. Mercury is for maternals, so that time uh, he'll be very friendly, humorous, talkative. But not they are not always talkative, but they are with the friends. They will talk a lot. They will talk to their maternal uncles also a lot. There will be gain of income from journalism. So whatever Mercury represents, they will get income out of it. They will get gains out of it. Mercury represents stock market, forex trading, equity, journalism, printing, writing. So all these things will basically give them wealth, give them a lot of income. Gain from the occult, hidden activity, sudden, unexpected gains. Mercury is also the lord of 8th house. And 8th house exalted in the 11th house means from some unknown place they will get suddenly the income. They invest in some bad stock and suddenly that stock becomes 10 times. That kind of income they will get. Mind will be stressful for unknown reasons. Eighth house is for unknowns, and when it is there in the fifth house, debilitated, that means he'll be continuously stressful for something unknown. Sorrow, fifth house due to 11th lord. Okay, now again you see here, the 11th lord stands for your elder brother also, and that is being debilitated in the fifth house. So you could you could have some mental issues, you could have stress because of your elder siblings. That's the 11th house. 11th house is also for the gain of income, so suddenly you will be stressed because you want more income, so that lobha is there. Mercury also stands for irsha. Okay, it's a matsarya, like others have that much, I don't have this much, so that can also make you stressful. Though serious mind but display humorous attitude when with maternals or with friends. So as I explained, Mercury stands for friends, for maternals. So when they are in company of friends and maternals, they will be very open, they'll be humorous, they'll be very talkative. Okay, so we covered all of them. Now let's see what would be the result when because Scorpio is the first house, so other houses will be like Sagittarius will be the second house, third will be Capricorn, like that. We'll cover all the 12 houses, and just by being Sagittarius as the second house, what kind of result we can expect. Okay, so second house is for your eyes. Second house is also for your face. Jupiter over there, basically, it's a sign of Jupiter. It's a Agni sign. May give you beautiful eyes. The eyes will be tawny, okay, like yellowish kind. You'll have attractive face because Jupiter is very dignified planet, very sattvic planet, so it will give you very dignified appearance. Wealth from juices, so second house is also for wealth, and second house ruling Jupiter, basically you can get wealth from the juices, wealth from the real estate, because Ketu is exalted over there, and Ketu is for the paternal real estate. So you could get wealth from that real estate. You'll be interested in religious activities. So since since it is the natural ninth house of religious activities, so you could become interested in that. Third house is for Capricorn. That makes you very peaceful and devout to Brahmins. Fourth house for Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Rahu. Rahu is, you see, Rahu is something out of the. So what fourth house stands for? What makes you comfortable? And Rahu over there means something is sudden, out of the way, or ekdam extreme. Then it will make you comfortable, like magic, okay, or like some sensational talks, or something which is out of the norm. That will give you comfort. Okay, you will also get comfort in the company of women, because Saturn is exalted in the house of Venus, and Venus is the watery element. Venus is the woman, so they will be comfortable when women are around. They'll get comfort from fruit juice. Again, that nectar of fruits. It comes from Venus. Comfort from sweet preparations. Venus is the lord of natural second house of Taurus. Okay, all the natural, all the food that we eat to sustain the life, all that comes from Venus. So they will they'll be comfortable with all these things, with sweet foods, with fruit juices, with in the company of women, or any Venus related things like perfumes, flowers. Fifth house is for Pisces, and Pisces is where the Venus is exalted, and it stands for your children. Jupiter and Venus both are Saumya planets, good planets, Brahmins. So it gives the a beautiful kids. Okay, but if there are any malefic association with fifth house, the children could be sickly. That could be because Ketu's mole trikona is also Pisces, so some effect of Ketu will come into picture when malefic associations are there. Children will be in the company of women. The children will like the company of women because in the fifth house Venus is exalted. Okay, so basically they will like the company of women. Sixth house is for Aries, and Aries is the Kal Purush Kundali's head. Okay, so Aries represents the entire human race, all the world. When we say the Kal Purush, the entire human race is there in the sixth house. They are Scorpio is the natural eighth house. So they consider the entire humankind, all kind of men, as their enemy. Okay, so that kind of thing will be there because they are simmering inside. So God knows what they are thinking because they are the eighth house. Even they do not know what they are thinking. So they will have animosity with practically all kind of people. Seventh house Taurus. Moon exalted over there, house of Venus. All the good planet association with the seventh house makes a person have a very nice wife, a very nice spouse. Wife will be beautiful, she'll be peaceful, she'll be humble, modest, devout. She'll be devoted to Brahmins and Devatas because Moon is the ninth lord. She'll be artistic, again, the Venus qualities, good painting and dancing. Venusian qualities are there in the wife. Eighth house stands for how you will go from this world. Okay, eighth house is the house of Mercury. Eighth house is actually the natural third house of copulation, of sexual union. There could be sexual disorders in the person. Since Rahu is there, so some extremity is there in the accident. So the death could be due to accident. That will be the way to go out. Death could be due to other karakatwas of Rahu, like in the foreign country, or due to some chemical or poison, or death could be over fighting for gains because Mercury is the lord of 11th house, and uh, and that gain basically lot of your intention to basically gain something will will be the cause of death. Ninth house, Cancer. So Cancer is the sign associated with, now since it is the ninth house. Okay, so it is association with the pilgrimages, going to temples, and since it is exalted in the seventh house, so those pilgrimages will be basically long distance. Okay, and they will be easily able to stay there for long duration, uh, because of the seventh house association. Also, Cancer represents the forest, the river, so the temples and the pilgrimage which is there around the forest, around the river, around the gardens. That will be the area where they will like to go. There basically pilgrimages will be generally in the places which is in the jungle and around the river. 10th house, Leo. Okay, so it will basically give them lot of arrogance in this area. Okay, they could be involved in some terrible activities. Like Leo is the hills, you see, and in past time, what used to happen, that people who committed crime, they will be basically given uh, desh nikala. They'll be thrown out of that country, out of their village. They will go and live there in the hills. So 10th house in the Leo would mean that these people could perform some activities which will make them go and live in the hills. Okay, so that kind of terrible or sinful activity is possible, especially because Sun is there in the sixth house. So some animosity with the ruling party, with the person in power, is possible. That will make them go and live there in the hills. In the 11th house, Virgo. Okay, so basically they'll gain through the Mercurial activities like, you can say, consulting, journalism, writing. So even going through the spiritual scriptures, um, Mercury is actually a lot into learning. So Mercury will learn Vedas and various Shastras. If Jupiter would have been there, Jupiter would have given a lot of deep knowledge. Mercury will get a lot of knowledge, but not very deep. Jupiter will give very deep knowledge into something, especially the spiritual subjects, religious subjects. Okay, so since Mercury is there in the 11th house, so person will gain out of such activities. Okay, like consulting, writing, journalism, and going through scriptures and Vedas. Then the 12th house, Libra. Okay, so in Libra, Saturn is exalted. So basically, the person could be interested in Ashtanga yoga. Saturn represents yoga. Okay, and 12th house is for relaxation. 12th house is for sleep. Okay, so the person will get involved in the yogic practices because of the fourth lord exalted in the 12th house. Yoga will basically give them some kind of comfort. Libra. uh, Protection of wealth and children. So see, whenever there is a Saumya planet um, ruling over the 12th house, it basically gives the person control over the expenses. Okay, so Venus will basically protect their wealth. It will not make them spend something mindlessly. Okay, they'll be spending on brahmanas. So this result comes because Venus is actually a brahmana, and 12th house Libra basically stands for spending. So spending is there on brahmanas, on some religious things, or giving donations to Brahmin people. They'll get fame through spending. So fame comes from the fifth house. Okay, fame comes from the fifth house because you see, Sun is the lord of fifth house, and Sun is the most famous in the world. He has been here for 4 billion years, and he's the most famous. Everyone knows. Okay, so fifth house stands for fame, and since 12th lord is exalted in the fifth house, that means the person will become famous when he starts spending on certain things. So basically his intention for spending will be to gain fame. Okay, or it could also mean to basically for the well-being of their children. They will spend a lot. Protection of wealth and children would be from the Venus exalted. Okay, that's all about it. Thank you so much. Om Namo Narayana.